Welcome to Wasted Potential, a game series where we go over cancelled or otherwise shut down video games that had a ton of potential but just didn't make the cut. I was inspired to do something like this by watching NerdCube's Death of the Game series while also scrolling away on my Steam library last night, looking through my backlog to see what I could start up to as the next potential game I go through on Steam, only to happen upon a section I titled Dead Games, which is pretty self-explanatory. In that section, I was reminded of an incredible multiplayer experience that I still have not seen anyone attempt again, and it gave me a rush of memories I wish I could bring back. Let's talk about Smash+Grab. For those not in the know, United Front Games, the developer behind the lauded Sleeping Dogs, was actively working on an MMO in the same Sleeping Dogs franchise, known as Triad Wars, that ended up getting cancelled sometime in 2015. Now, this part is purely an assumption of mine, so obviously take it with a grain of salt, but I do believe that bits and pieces of what was left in the Triad Wars beta were utilized in the production of a brand new multiplayer fighting game that began development on called Smash+Grab. In Smash+Grab, you take on the role of a gang leader, flanked on all sides by AI-assisted gang members with only one goal: to take the city down for all it's worth. In Smash+Grab, you and your crew would roam the city streets, bowling over anything you could, from pawn shops, convenience stores, to jewelry stores in a bid to make as much money as humanly possible. Whoever hits the cash limit wins. Along the way, you'd encounter enemy teams in the form of other players who had the same goal. You could utilize a combination of EXP you obtain from farming hostile NPCs and money that you earn from your exploits to upgrade your character in several different ways over the course of the match. When I tell you that this game was so fun, I genuinely mean it. I honestly think with the proper advertisement, Smash+Grab could have definitely been one of the most memorable multiplayer experiences ever, and may not have been able to hang with the big boys, but at the very least would have had its own dedicated community keeping it afloat. But alas, in the background, the developer United Front Games had been suffering the consequences of bouncing from one failure to the next, and only after a month of release in early access, Smash+Grab was essentially cancelled, as United Front Games had closed its doors, shutting the game down forever. There's a part of me that wishes this game was able to finally see the light of day, but unfortunately that's just not the reality we live in. The developers offered everyone who bought this game into early access refunds, but I still keep my copy tucked away in my digital vault on Steam as a way to remember the good times and remind myself of its potential to be a truly great multiplayer gaming experience. But anyways, is there any game that you guys would like me to cover? Anything you want me to take a look into? Let me know. I figured this would be a fun little series to go into. Talk about games that I really was into and I was super about, but unfortunately just got canceled in the long run. Let me know. Much love. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.